Hi friends, it's Jules. Welcome to Jules Reads. This is going to be my reading wrap up for August of 2025. I do a lot of my videos outside no matter what here in Minnesota. We just got done with a thunderstorm and it might rain again. But if you hear birds, planes, automobiles, that is what is happening because I am outside. And I have 6 books to talk about. I'm going to go from my least favorite to my most favorite. And the first book I'm going to talk about here is Stormfront by Jim Butcher. I did give this 3 stars. This was published in 2000 by Penguin ROC. It's the first book in the Dresden Files series, which includes 17 books with number 18 being released in 2026. It has an average rating on Goodreads of 3.97. This book introduces us to Harry Dresden, a wizard for hire in Chicago. It blends urban fantasy and detective noir mystery. Harry consults with the police on a double murder that involves dark magic, but at the same time, he's also investigating a missing person case on his own. I'm not normally a fantasy reader, but I was intrigued by this from Mike at Mike's Book Reviews. He really highly suggests and recommends the Dresden Files series. And it's urban fantasy, which sometimes I can like. If it's kind of light on the fantasy, I might like it. I did enjoy this. I gave it 3 stars, and I have heard that this book is people's least favorite in the whole series. So if that's the case, I think I should continue on, and I've been recommended that I continue on. Do you like my shirt? We just ordered these for our In Real Life book club, and I am obsessed with it. Okay, I did do this on audio, and it was narrated by Spike from Buffy the Vampire Slayer, who is James Marsters. And at first, the narration I was not getting along with because they leave in like kind of the breathing sounds and some just weird sounds that I usually are probably edited out of audiobooks, but they left it in. But then I read into it, and it sounds like they do this because they feel like this is Harry's character, the way he is. And so once I understood that, I got along much better with the audiobook. I think I will continue in this series on audio, not a physical book, because I don't think these are regular paperbacks. I think they're mass market paperbacks, and I just don't enjoy reading that format. So I think I'll continue on the audio. And I heard that there is even a more significant audio version coming out, but I think it's just going to be the first one for now. And that's going to be multiple people cast members in that. So look out for that if you do like this series. All right, the next one I'm going to talk about is Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This was published by Ballantine Books, and it has 352 pages. It does have a really high average Goodreads rating of 4.39. I did enjoy this. You're following Joan in 1980s as she becomes one of the first female astronauts. It is a sapphic love story. I didn't cry. I know a lot of people have cried in it. I think it might be my age, but I didn't cry. But I liked it. I had a good time with it, and yeah. I want to say I think someone commented on one of my videos that they heard this being called a female anthem. So it is probably more on the feminist side of storytelling, which I enjoy. And it is about loss and survival and love and identity and, grasping with that in the 1980s specifically, how hard that must have been. And yeah, and she's a woman in a man's field and going through that. I think one of the things I didn't like about it is I really didn't care about some of the side characters. I just was not invested in them. I just wanted more from Joan. If you like other Taylor Jenkins Reid books, I would recommend reading this one. I do like Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo quite a bit better. I gave that 5 stars. And now the more I'm thinking about it, I might drop this down to a 3.5 star. Just because of the way I'm feeling about it afterwards. The next book I did on audio, and that was Remarkably Bright Creatures by Shelby Van Pelt. This was published in 2022 by Echo. It has 365 pages and an average Goodreads rating of 4.36. And I did actually look up the similar books to this, and I already had the Traveling Cat Chronicles, and I just picked up the Story Life of A.J. Furke. I really like this. I gave it 4 stars. What's amazing is this is the author's debut novel, and this year following Tova, who's a 70-year-old widow, and she's coping with grief by taking a nightly cleaning job at the aquarium. Her life shifts when she forms an unlikely bond with Marcellus. And I don't want to say too much more than that about Marcellus, but that is a really fun part of the book, and I wanted more from Marcellus. I did this on audio, so I highly suggest you do this on audio because the voice of Marcellus is just fantastic. And then there is the friendship between Marcellus and Tova. And then you also have the point of view of Cameron, who's a 30-year-old man grappling with his past and searching for identity. And I think for some, he's offering a counterbalance to Tova's character. And there is some good mystery and suspenses here as well. It kept my attention. The audio I really, really liked, and I highly recommend that. Yeah, I gave this 4 stars. I think I said that. The next book I did on audio as well, and that was The Long Walk by Stephen King. This was published in 1999 by Signet. It has 370 pages, an average Goodreads rating of 4.06. I did give this 5 stars. I think that 5 stars is a little generous. It's more like a 4.5 for me. Similar books are The Hunger Games and Lord of the Flies. This was published under his pen name, Richard Bachman. It is a dystopian novel about a brutal contest where teenage boys are tasked with walking. They have to keep a pace of 4 miles per hour. Otherwise, they get a warning, and I think after 3 warnings it is that they're killed. It's a really bleak, dark book. The writing, though, it's Stephen King. It was fantastic. The main walker you're following is Ray Garrity, and the movie that's actually coming out next week, I think, Ray Garrity is played by Philip Seymour Hoffman's son, Cooper Hoffman, which is really exciting. I'm excited to see that. But ultimately, the walk becomes a chilling metaphor for endurance, conformity, and the human will to live. I really like this. I really like the audio, and there's not a Stephen King book I don't like, but I did really like this. But just know that it's pretty bleak, not a lot of fun stuff. I mean, there is a little bit of humor in it, but yeah, it's pretty dark. So make sure you're in a good headspace, I'd say, when you read this one. The next book I read is The Stepford Wives by Ira Levine. This was published in 1972 by Random House. It has 144 pages, an average Goodreads rating of 3.88. I gave this a solid 5 stars, and similar books to this would be The Handmaid's Tale, actually. This has a little more science fiction, kind of science fiction than The Handmaid's Tale. Other books by this author are Rosemary's Baby and A Kiss Before Dying. I just got a big water drop on my book from the tree above. I don't think it's raining. I think it's just the tree dropping on me. But this is a satirical horror dystopian thriller. It's really short. It's like a novella almost. I don't know what, qualifies as a novella. But you're following Joanna and her family. She's a photographer and young mother. They move to the suburb, Stepford, and weird things start happening. She becomes friends with some women, and some of the women just act very strange. And the town looks ideal, just beautiful. But then there's just sinister things that she's starting to feel that are happening. And slowly those friends that she's meeting, one by one, they're transforming and becoming totally different personalities. So she cannot figure out what the heck is going on. She wants to leave, and her husband's like, let's just give it a little bit longer. I can't say much more than that. If you've seen the movies, I have not watched the movies because I can't figure out how to watch them for free. But I was going to do that and do a vlog, but I did not do that because I couldn't find the movies for free. But if you like, this is another feminist tale, but it doesn't end so well. So if you like positive endings, this is not the book for you. It does end a little ambiguous, I would say. So if you don't like those types of endings as well, I wouldn't check this out. It is about control and conformity and technology and dehumanization. It's amazing how this was written in 1972 and it still really fits into what's happening today in our world, and I loved it. I really want to check out the movies, so if you know how to find those for free, let me know. Is Wild Dark Shore by Charlotte McConaghy. This is probably I know this is gonna be on my favorites of the year. It might be my #1 favorite of the year. I think it is so far. And this was published in just March of this year by Flatiron Books. It has 298 pages, an average Goodreads rating of 4.17. The interesting thing is similar books that I found were Light Pirate, but then also Greenwood, and I DNF'd Greenwood. So I don't know, I mean, I know Greenwood is about nature writing, and so is this, but that might be the only similarity. This book is about grief, family sacrifice, and ecological stewardship. Other books by this author were Once There Were Wolves, which I have read and I didn't really love, so I do want to read that again. And I want to pick up Migrations by her. I have looked for it. Even the copy that I found at Barnes & Noble was damaged a little bit, so I need to find a copy that's not damaged, but I don't want to spend too much either. This is set on a remote island that is closest probably to Antarctica. It is called Shearwater Island, and it follows Dominic and then his children. He has 3 kids, Rafe, Finn, and Orly, and they are like the final caretakers for this seed vault where they are protecting all the seeds of the world for like plants and flowers and food. But as the water levels are rising, they need to get all these seeds off this island because the island is going to be underwater. And then one day, a woman washes ashore from a boat wreck, and they don't even know if she's going to survive, but they nurse her back to health. And so it's the relationship between this family. They're the only ones left on the island. Relationship between them and this woman, and then why is she at the island? So there's a lot of mystery in this book. Why is she there? What happened to bring her there, and why are they the only ones left on the island? And then it's just really about relationships. There's a lot of grief in here, which just really I loved. I don't know why. I am still in a grieving time of my life, and to read about grieving just really helps me, actually. I'm not sure if that's a good thing, but it really did. My favorite character in the book is Orly. He's 9 years old, and he is so brilliant. He is wise beyond his years, and the way he talks about nature and the seeds and knowing everything about the seeds and nature and animals, he is just, he stole my heart. Yeah, the book did rip my heart out a little bit. I cried, which usually if a book makes me cry, I'm gonna love it. And I can confidently recommend this book to anyone. I have nothing bad to say about it. The chapters are really quick too. It's told from different perspectives, so it's told from all 5 of those main characters' perspectives, and so it bounces around between characters, and one chapter from one character might be just a paragraph, so it moves really quickly. It's a quick read, and highly recommend it. And checking out her other books, because I mean, if they're like this, I don't remember a lot about Once There Were Wolves, but my husband reminded me because we actually buddy read that together, and he reminded me. I'm like, I must not have been in a good time in a good spot in my life to be reading that at that time, because it sounds amazing, and it's a heavy subject, and this is a heavy subject as well, but highly recommend that one as well. And that is my August reading wrap up. What's your favorite book you read in August, and what's your favorite book you've read so far this year? I have so many books I want to read. I checked my Goodreads recently, and there's over 700 books. Now that's books I've been adding on there for 15 years, but it's getting a bit ridiculous, and it's too time consuming to go back and start deleting. And I have so many books, I'm like, so I hear a booktuber talk about, I'm like, oh, I have that book, or I want that book, or release to this, and I wish I could just read all the time and not do anything else. All right, that's my August reading wrap up, and I hope you had a great reading month like I did, and I will catch you in my next video.